We are moving on to James. James Jones. He is 37 years old from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He is an event planner, though something that should be noted. It's talked about a lot in his bio, in his 1 minute video, not mentioned a lot in his interview. He is sort of like a chess prodigy with competed in
Oh,
tournaments at a young age. So we shall see how much that translates to. Listen, unlike the squares of a chessboard, the game of Survivor is far from black and white.
okay. All right. Let's go and see what James has to say. Here is James.
To start off, tell us about yourself. Give us your name, age, and occupation.
My name is James Jones. I am 36 and I'm an event curator and real estate investor from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Why are you here on Survivor?
I really want to, I want to see my ability to communicate with people. And if I can, be as good of a Survivor player as I think I can be. So I'm here to challenge myself mentally, physically, and emotionally and, see if I can really, get this thing going and really be the best person I can be.
What's your history with watching Survivor?
So I remember watching it the first season, and then I really remember watching it when Earl won his season. And I remember watching that season and thinking it was like masterful how he was just manipulating, kind of not manipulating everybody, but he was being a genuine person, but at the same time getting people to see things his way. And him also being like an African American male was kind of something that, I don't remember ever seeing an African American male winning before Earl. So that was kind of inspirational for me growing up and just being able to see someone go out, conquer the elements, and be able to win $1 million, help their family out. So I feel like that was, my start. And then as the game progressed, like all the strategy components about the game and interpersonal relationships really just kind of stuck to me because I grew up playing chess. So just thinking about strategically kind of how to balance that with the personal interaction relations with people, and you sit back and think, how do you get voted out with 2 idols in your pocket? How do you not see this coming? And like if I was out there, I would be doing this and that, and now I get the opportunity. So I was always wanted to know, like, what would I really do? Could I really conquer the elements? How would I be not sleeping, not eating? And I wanted to challenge myself and really just think I can really do this thing. So I'm just excited.
Give me one Survivor winner and one non-winner who you identify with the most.
All right, the Survivor winner I identify the most with, I would probably say would have to be Oh, I would go with I would probably stay with Earl. I feel like he was very even killed. He kept everything. He never got too high. He never got too low. But you could always tell his mind was always working. And I feel like that's me where I try to keep everything light, good vibes only, keep every smile on everybody's face. But in the back of my mind, I'm like a killer. I'm thinking about all the moves. I'm thinking about how I can move myself forward and move the game forward. And the person that I feel like, that hasn't won, that's the best is probably Cherie because she didn't have the physical tools. And I don't think I'm gonna be a physical player out here, but mentally be able to know when people are making moves and have that EQ and understand and read the room is just amazing to, be able to get that far and not be able to, have any, like not be a physical threat and not be a beast in challenges and not be able to do a lot of things, but to be able to use your mind and your mouth and your words to get you far, I think is masterful. So those are the two people that I look up to in the game. And she's also an African American woman too. So more power to the queen.
Potato. Ooh, a little bit of shots fired. James calling Sarid the queen. Or is this like Westeros where there are multiple queens happening?
I think maybe multiple queens happening. Yeah. So I like a lot of what James is saying so far. I feel like that he's seems to be focused more on the people and the other players in the game. He talks about how Earl won in Survivor Fiji. He talks about how Suri was able to really end up playing a masterful game using her mind and really being focused on like the emotions of the other players and EQ. And so I think that James is saying a lot of the things that I like.
Yeah, I think that James, and maybe this is like the chess part of him, right? Like we haven't had this much chess talk since back during the days of Spencer, and then before him, his future counterpart in Marty, right, with the Guillermo Villas stuff. But I like the way that James vocalizes, and he does this a lot in his 1 minute video about bringing chess into Survivor where people aren't just pieces for you to use,
Yes.
right? Like a bishop can only move diagonally. A Survivor player can't just move one way. In fact, they're going to move all over the place. And so it's more about the idea of reading your opponent than it is like strategically planning out moves. He talks a lot about how in chess and Survivor, you have to choose between certain points of adamantly pursuing strategies or like sitting back and letting people essentially make mistakes, which you can then capitalize on. And I think that's a really good way to contextualize the game of Survivor within something like chess, which is less about the pieces that you're using and more so reading the behaviors of your opponent. And yeah, listen, we stand an Earl Cole shout out in, the Lear of Our Lord 2022. And I think
Mhm.
that the way James vocalized his game, I think is really great and really on the nose. I do think Earl may be one of the most underrated winners out there, especially given the fact that Earl was a recruit, did not know Survivor from A Hole in the Ground, which is probably another name of a reality show that was out at that time on Fox or something. Yet he was able to come in, much like James, read the people, read the situation in a game that he was not
Oh,
very much aware of, and then go ahead and win.
Mike, it's right here all along. This guy is James Earl Jones.
Oh my God! Right in front of us. You thought you could get past us, Mr. Cole, but no, 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 no. We read between it. We consulted the facts. We solved your puzzle, Mr. Policeman. We had all the clues. Earl, we see you. I know you couldn't come out to play your second time. This is your spiritual successor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The second coming of Earl is James Jones, of course.
Wow. And now a bunch of people I know online in a certain subsect just like absolutely fell in love with him with that comparison.
Yeah. Okay. And when he talks about Suri as the queen, maybe he's talking about he's comparing her to the chessboard.
Yeah, that could be it as well. That Sari was able to do a lot, right? Much like the queen can pretty much move anywhere at any point in time. What do you think the odds are, Rob, that we're gonna get like a Tashawn from Big Brother Canada-esque chess confessional from him at one point of like, Gio's the pawn, Carla's the bishop, I'm the king, baby.
The producers of reality shows do love this stuff.
Yeah, they absolutely
Mhm.
love the chess piece
Mhm.
comparison. And considering James's history, like they have to bank on it. We saw the file photos in his 1 minute video. I think we're gonna get it here from his package if he gets one about like him being a chess champion. He talked about this in his bio. He won the US Chess Open, the largest chess tournament in the USA, for his rating bracket when he was 12, and he won $1,200, which was like $100,000 to him at that age.
Okay. Let's get back to James.
What's your favorite moment in Survivor history?
I remember when Parvati used two idols in Heroes Villains. I thought that was like a crazy, iconic moment because they went into that merge down 4-8, where they were down 4, and just understanding that using people's perceptions like against you and manipulating people at the highest level. It's like when you're at the bottom and you can still get people out from the big alliance. I feel like that's always masterful gameplay because it should be easy to take out the smaller alliance at the merge, and the ability to flip that and kind of shock people when you don't have the numbers is, I think, still like the most amazing thing to see in the game.
Potato. I think you might be getting Survivor Samoa and Heroes versus Villains confused, but great story nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you see Russell in back-to-back seasons. Speaking of Russell, actually, let me invoke something going back to the previous players stuff. When that's in his bio, which past survivor will you play the game most like? He says, Sandra's anyone but me will always be my strategy, as long as I see a path to the end and I am with people or have people in which I trust. If I don't have that, I will be an agent of chaos, Russell, with charm. I am playing to
Oh,
win and not for 7th place.
what do you mean that I wrestle with charm? I got plenty of charm.
What do you mean you're playing to win? I tried to play that as well. Where's your hat, James? You need the hat if you want to be like me.
All right, let's go back to James.
What's one life experience you feel has prepared you most for the game?
I think when I was 17, I started school early and I went to college in Florida A&M, and I'm from Philadelphia. So at 17, going 1,000 miles away to school and acclimating myself to a different environment, around, a campus of 13,000 people, and being able to adapt and thrive there where I joined the fraternity. I was active on campus, getting to know people from all across the country and excelling. And you're able to, I'm able to build people from the South, from the West, from the Midwest, people from out of the country that you meet, and being able to kind of deal with people and kind of excel socially and have a lot of fun and excel educationally down at school. It really shaped me and helped me to, professionally, where I worked at Goldman Sachs. I worked at Pfizer. I did really good internships, and I was around a diverse group of people, and knowing how to work those people and, not like work in a bad way, but build relationships and be able to communicate with different people on different levels to, obtain different goals that I have. So those would be the things that shaped me. Also joining the fraternity while I was down there. Beta Nu taught me a lot about dealing with, triumph and disaster, take the highs with the lows, and, always keeping a cool head, but keep your mind going at the same time.
What excites you the most about the new era of Survivor?
What excites me is that my mind is always going 1,000 miles a minute. So I want the more stuff that gets thrown at it, the better for me. Like, I look forward to kind of using the twist and using what I know to kind of, to make difference and kind of hopefully have moves that people use in the future. Like, I want to find idols. I want to make fake idols. I want to try to, if I can get somebody to think they have an advantage and they don't have it. I want to have somebody think they lost their vote when they have it. If there's something that I can do with what the tools I'm given or this new Survivor, I want to try to push it to the limit, because that's what, life's about. That's what this game is about. It's about pushing it to the limit, your physical limits, your emotional limits, your spiritual limits, and coming out on top.
Potato. What do you?
Yeah.
Yes. Let the hate flow through you.
Yeah. So it's, we're really bringing in all of our Star Wars, and it's a real mishmash right now.
Somehow Russell returned.
Yes, and James Earl Jones' voice. We'll need to bring him back to the light side. So, Mike, I like where James is coming from again. That, okay, so he's gonna be thinking about the people first, and then with that, then he can then do sort of like the flashy stuff.
Yeah, I'm just intrigued as to, and probably he hasn't thought this plan through, but what does trying to trick somebody into the fact that they don't have a vote, not that you don't have a vote, that they don't have a vote, unless maybe I'm misreading that, but it seems like he wants to purposely make fake advantages to make people feel like they have something when they don't.
Yeah, it would be tricky of hey, I have some bad news. I went to Shipwheel Island and you don't have a vote tonight.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a
when
tough
you
pill
get
to swallow.
to the tribal council, all right, Mike, it's your turn to vote. Actually, hold on. Or not.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that when people, surrendered their votes by finding idols, for example, or Shipwheel Island, I'm pretty sure, I'm trying to remember, when they walk up to the booth, did they have to write no? They didn't write anything on the parchment, right? They just had to go up and
they go up there, and then it says no vote on their paper, and they go sit down.
Right, because I know that in the past, for example, I went to the first tribal council of Survivor 39, where Elizabeth Basil didn't have a vote. She actually had to manually write out no vote on her parchment. And I know that sometimes, for example, you have a no vote parchment that you have to put that's already printed out, that you have to put within the urn. So it really depends. But you would imagine it comes out there, right? We're surely, and these are famous last words, but surely you can't trick someone into saying you don't have a vote, and they actually then accidentally abstain from voting.
I think James is just throwing spaghetti at the wall here in this pregame interview. So I don't know if he might do exactly that, but he is trying to think outside the box. If there's a way to do
absolutely.
it, he'll figure it out.
I'm going to go back to the life experience question, because listen, I'll admit, sometimes you roll your eyes a bit when the answer as to what one life experience has prepared you the most for the game is going to college. This is what sort of, when we talk about the younger players, right? That we talked about this, I think, with Xander and with JD, a bit of okay, if your one life experience is high school or college, that is very different from the real world. But remember, James is 37 years old. Near the age, more so near Gio's real age than Gio's fake age. And so from that capacity, let's also remember that he is an event planner. He talks about this in his bio, that managing events at a club on Friday night, anything can happen. And so I do think that there are a lot of social skills that I think he is accurately talking up here, as opposed to what you might initially think of, like, okay, the thing that most prepares you for the game is like going to college in Florida. Fantastic. I mean, Florida can compare us for a lot of life, just in terms of how anything and everything will happen in terms of
Mhm.
weirdness. Florida really is the new era of states in terms of Survivor.
I guess so. They could have shot a season there during the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. Just like the monsters
Works
on
for
bath salts
WWE.
now.
Yeah. All right.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that James is maybe almost like undervaluing himself when it comes to his social game, in my opinion.
Okay. Let's go to James some more.
What do you think people will perceive you as?
Yo, so this is, I feel like this is the ultimate question. I feel like people are going to really perceive me as a fun-loving person, that isn't really too serious at first. And I want to keep them thinking that. But then I don't think they're going to perceive me. I'm an older person here, but I don't think I look old. So I want older people here. And I want them to think that I'm a laid back, steady force. But behind that steady force, the laughs and the jokes is going to be someone that's going to cut their throat at tribal the second I get a whip they're trying to come at. So I want to present, I want to be perceived as someone that's a steady force, a hard worker, and that there's not going to be, I'm not going to shake things up. So they want to keep me around. But that's what I want to perceive. And that's what I've been trying to do. And that's how I'm going to present myself. And hopefully I'll be good at that. And I can rule them out when I can.
What type of player are you looking for in an alliance?
I want to find my opposites. I feel like, I feel like you always have like the cool kids, and then you have like the big alliance, and then you have like the people who are, on the outskirts. I want to, find people who are opposite of me, So if I'm older, I want to find people that are younger, not where I'm from, like have different experiences. One, because I want to reach out and I want to learn. Because the more you learn about people and their experiences, the more you're able to judge their actions. So I want to be able to build with people who aren't like me, because those are going to be the hardest people to build relationships with. And the people that are more like me, I feel like that would be more natural for them to communicate with me. And it may be harder for them to communicate with people that aren't like them. So when they're not building relationships, I want to build relationships where people aren't going to build relationships, but do it in a way where I can get all the information and also have an army or have different moves at my disposal and different options moving forward. So my goal is to keep the people that are like me around me, but make sure I build relationships with people that are opposite me socially, physically, and temperamentally.
What's the one thing you told yourself you wouldn't do in this game?
Well, I didn't have that talk. But I think I'm not gonna. One thing I'm not gonna do is I'm gonna not be someone different. I have to be myself. I can't not be myself. And because when everything is stripped from you, you have no choice. And this game takes away everything. So I can't not be who I am. I'm a gregarious person. I tell jokes. I have a lot of energy. I have to be that person. And the second I'm not that person, someone's going to know that that's not me. They're going to be able to detect that. So you have to stay true to yourself. So I'm not going to not be me. So it's like either you're going to take it or you're going to leave it. And a lot of people like it and some people don't. And the people that don't got to go. It is what it is.
What's the best advice you received before coming out to play?
And actively listen. Listen and really engage with people on a human level. Like, yeah, we're playing the game, but these are people, and this is the game about people. And make sure that you're vulnerable and show empathy. So I'm typically, growing up in Philly, like you keep everything close to the vest, you keep everything inside, and this is a game where you have to get people to trust you, and to do that, you have to be vulnerable. So, and my friends told me, James, it's okay to show some emotion. Like, you need to, kind of. Not be as hard, not be as, don't be as, kind of hard to get to know. Don't have that wall up out here. Like, this is the one time in your life that you probably need to be vulnerable and let people invest themselves in you, and you invest in people. And, that's how you're going to win this game.
What celebrity or fictional character would you want to come out for a loved one's visit?
Making good. I don't know. I had a crush on her since I was a kid, so if that's a celebrity I can get, yeah. Or actually, yeah, it would probably be Making Good, but actually, no, it would be Diddy. Puffy is like literally like my idol since I was a kid. Since Can't Stop, Won't Stop. Like if I saw Diddy hop off the helicopter and he Diddy bopped out there and we had to do a challenge together, I don't know what I would do. That may be the one thing that would be better than winning the game. Truth be told, and you probably can see from my expression that I got super excited about that. So it would be Diddy. But loved one, like I hope I see my niece out there. And I mean, and truth be told, my mom passed away, so if that was a choice, that's not possible. But I would love for her to see me come play this game, man. Like she would have like, oh my God, man. I would probably be the one time I would break down and cry. Like if anything, that would be it. So I guess there were three people. Hope I try to talk a lot, as you can tell. That's why he told me to shut up, James. So yeah, that's what's up.
All right, James. Let's bring out your hero, Diddy.
Diddy's just Diddy bopping like, all right, James, I'm gonna need you to drop all these buckets of water into this giant barrel at the end to get the food. I'm just thinking about like the making the band-esque Herculean task that Diddy used to give out and how he probably create survivor challenges based on that.
Yeah. What's the relationship like between a fan and a celebrity, Diddy? Can you explain what that's like?
Is it like a Diddy or a daddy? How close are you to James right now? Like, truth be told, I don't know who this man is. You kidnapped me from my house and put me on this helicopter, and now I'm in Fiji. What are we doing right now?
Okay. But overall, I really have enjoyed everything that James is talking about. I feel like really good about James going into the game.
I'm of a couple minds about it because I do agree. I think that like a lot of what he's saying in terms of it being less about advantages and twists and hard strategy and more so about like personal relationships and flexibility is ideal for the new era. I'm just having a tough time connecting the idea to the execution. I'm looking at his last answer, for instance, when he says like, yeah, sorry, I tend to talk a lot. And I'm like, is this going to be your answer at every tribal council? This Diddy equivalent of just like going on and on and on about things? Could this be something where he talks a bit too much and gets his mouth in trouble as a result of it? That might be something that I could see potentially happening, where here's a guy who feels like he understands people, who feels like he understands behavioral movements based on chess, but then for whatever reason, it doesn't match up to the way the game plays out. Another bit of a red flag for me, Rob, is the best advice he received before coming out, which is that he usually has his walls up and isn't vulnerable. And if he's not able to open up to people out there as well and not ingratiate himself with other people that might be having a tough time out there, that could be something that makes him feel disconnected from the rest of his tribe. So like those are my concerns. But to your point, I think he's giving a lot of the subjectively correct right answers with a lot of these things.
Yeah, I mean, it is a concern. Maybe he could be like somebody who talks too much, but he also talks about actively listening. And I feel like that any concerns I feel like are outweighed by the things that I like. So overall, I am still feeling, dare I say, Megan good about where we go from here.
Yeah, we won't be saying I'll be missing you to James because he'll be there in the finale.
I hope not.
He'll be saying "shake your tail feather" to the chickens after he kills them. And
he'll be saying it's all about the Benjamins, baby.
And then Coach comes out like, "Yes, who invoked my name?"